Hey everybody, my name is Paul Eston Jr., aka Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We're streaming live in 3 different places simultaneously. Technology, baby. I don't know how they do it. I'm just the guy that gets in front of the camera to say all kinds of words about the New York Jets. We're on the Heavy on Jets Facebook page. Over 31,000 New York Jet fans. My YouTube channel, youtube.com/BoyGreen25, and on Twitter at the Jets_zone. Again, my Twitter account at BoyGreen25 is still hacked. At some point, I hope to get it back before I'm dead. But we'll wait for that when we eventually get there. Guys, if you're just joining us, this is kind of a spontaneous live stream. We weren't going to have this show, but I became available, and there's some things we wanted to talk about. So we'll be on answering your questions, diving through this very headline and how the Aaron Rodgers trade delay is affecting Quinnen Williams in ways I don't think a lot of us could have anticipated, and we'll dive into that in more detail. If you guys are watching on YouTube, again, the free way to contribute is by liking the video and hitting subscribe. I got to give a shout out. Let's see what our number is. I believe we're at 4.3 thousand subscribers. To shout out to all of you. It is all New York Jets content all the time, so we always appreciate you guys. And if you'd like as well, YouTube Super Chat feature is available. If you'd like to guarantee your question or comment gets answered, you can throw that in on YouTube. Throw a little change in the cup, and we'll do a dance for you. But let's get right to it here. Let's get right down to the brass tacks. Here's the thing. Aaron Rodgers, Jets-Packers, still no update as we're here on Friday night, April 7th. We still don't know when this trade is going to happen, who's this trade is going to happen. And seemingly an insider every day says basically the same exact thing, but in a different way. Jeremy Fowler today says, hey, this could get done on draft day. Okay, pass it. Water is wet. What has really changed here? So apparently nothing from that standpoint. So the trade could get done anywhere between the next 2 weeks. 3 weeks even with the draft. We're under 3 weeks away from the draft. We're 20 days away from today of the night one, which is Thursday night in Kansas City. And maybe we get this trade live on the clock, which has been kind of floated around out there. I would lose my bonkers if somehow Aaron freaking Rodgers live during the craziness of the draft is moved. Oh, that could be wild. Could be crazy times. So we'll keep you guys posted from that standpoint. But the fact of the matter is, as Zach Rosenblatt, also, if you guys are watching on YouTube, we have an article down below kind of guiding you through some of the things I'm going to be talking about here. And of course, we go beyond the words as well. But Zach Rosenblatt had a mailbag out earlier today of The Athletic. Great column. Feel free to check it out. And a fan asked, hey, what is the Quinnen Williams update? Quinnen has been kind of quiet. He's coming off an awesome year, obviously. He still has another year on his contract. That is the 5th-year option. So Quinnen is eligible, of course, to get paid. He is eligible to get the bag. And for a lot of reasons, obviously he should be. He's a very ultra talented player, still only 25 years of age. I mean, he is an exciting player. There's just no question about it. And he just completed his 4th season. So there's one more season to go here on his rookie contract. That is the 5th-year option that's available. But the fact of the matter is, as Zach Rosenblatt mentioned in his mailbag, the sense I get is that pretty much anything notable is on hold in terms of a Quinnen Williams contract extension until the Aaron Rodgers situation gets resolved. And by the way, I'm not questioning that. That's true that, again, the Aaron Rodgers thing has to get figured out. The Jets are committing, if and when this deal comes through, and it will happen, $60 million in cash. Now, cap, it's only about $15 million against the Jets cap this year, but they have to absorb that contract. Now, that could be Corey Davis being traded away. It could be Corey Davis being cut. And there's a lot of other moves that could happen to make that happen. However, once the Jets are able to absorb that contract in, they then can say, okay, we got to pay Aaron Rodgers this much this year, this much next year, blah, 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 blah. Now we can sign Quinnen to this deal and pay him this, and have it kind of spread out over a period of time. So the fact of the matter is the Jets have to wait till Aaron Rodgers is official before they can really do anything else. The OBJ potential deal is hanging, waiting for Aaron Rodgers to be official. They could move in on that. Ben Jones, a veteran center. Connor McGovern, a backup option in terms of the Jets for a veteran center, also floating out there. So a lot of these potential deals for the New York Jets are kind of floating out in the ethos until the Aaron Rodgers thing comes to fruition. But specifically as it pertains to this video, Quinnen Williams is waiting to get the payday. According to Quinnen Williams, here is what he told Jets media after the season. Quote, everybody knows I'm a team guy, man. But I do want to get a contract done before the offseason program. I do feel like I deserve to get a contract done before the offseason program just because I did everything right on the field and everything right off the field. Having the organization behind me, just like I'm behind them, to show that they really support me is a major thing for me, that coming from Quinnen Williams. And by the way, offseason programs start on Monday, April 17th. Check's calendar. That's 10 days away, baby. That is 10 days away. And again, contracts can happen very quickly. So perhaps this deal can come to fruition like this, even though we're only 10 days away. But the likelihood with this Aaron Rodgers thing, we don't really know when the end of the side is that Quinnen Williams continues to get delayed. And why does that make Quinnen Williams a rich man? Let's dive right in. There have been 3 interior defensive linemen given the bag this offseason, and you will notice a trend as we dive into this. Number 1, Javon Hargrave. He was formerly of the Philadelphia Eagles. He reached free agency as a true free agent. He signed a 4-year deal for $84 million with the San Francisco 49ers. So that was a big domino that fell in terms of interior defensive linemen. Number 2, Daron Payne was franchise tagged by the Washington Commanders. Then they signed it to a 4-year deal for $90 million. The latest deal of which came earlier today. The Tennessee Titans paid Jeffrey Simmons on a new 4-year contract worth $94 million. That via Ian Rappaport. Now, I will ask you a somewhat rhetorical question here. What do all of those guys have in common? Javon Hargrave, Daron Payne, Jeffrey Simmons. I'll let you guys marinate that on a second. What do those guys have in common? Each contract, in chronological order, it went Hargrave, Payne, Simmons today. The commonality, I will spoil here, is that each of them either equaled or were paid more than the previous guy. Let's go through the 3 groups. Hargrave, with his $84 million, earned $21 million per year. That ties the second highest paid defensive tackles in the NFL, which, by the way, before Hargrave got paid, was Leonard Williams, our good old buddy, got traded to the Giants, and DeForest Buckner of the Indianapolis Colts. Both of them shared the crown as the second highest paid defensive tackle in football at $21 million per year. Javon Hargrave joined that group at $21 million per year with his contract in true free agency. Daron Payne, when he got his extension from the Washington Commanders, he earned a $22.5 million per year evaluation, sole possession of the second highest paid defensive tackle in football, and that was now topped by Jeffrey Simmons of the Tennessee Titans, who now makes $23.5 million per year in new money on his deal, according to Ian Rappaport. So the fact of the matter is, these guys are getting paid, and I will tell you this, which, again, the highest paid defensive tackle in football is none other than Aaron Donald, obviously, and he totally reset the market with brand new money, making $31 million plus per year. No one's going to touch that. No one's going to go that crazy. No one will. However, if I'm Quinnen Williams, and Quinnen Williams' representation, Miss Nicole Lynn, who's one of the best in the gosh darn business, I'm going to the Jets, and I'm pointing at Javon Hargrave. I'm pointing at Daron Payne. I'm pointing at Jeffrey Simmons and saying, hey, boys, that's where the conversation starts. Not where it ends. That's where we're starting. As the Jets continue to wait for Aaron Rodgers, by the way, they have to. They have no choice, really, in my opinion. So I'm not crapping on the Jets for that. I'm just saying, hey, this trade delay with Aaron Rodgers is costing them buco bucks. That's just the facts. And we're seeing it with every new interior defensive lineman getting paid. Quinnen, in my opinion, is going to be the second highest paid defensive tackle in football. He's going to get $25 million plus per year. That number is going to happen, at least in my opinion. Again, Jeffrey Simmons is now at $23.5 million per year. That is now the second highest paid number. Maybe it comes at 24 for Quinnen, but if I'm Quinnen, I'm topping those guys. So he's getting 24 to 25 million per year on a brand new deal. The magic number appears to be 4 years. That's where all these other guys are at. So perhaps Quinnen goes in that same ballpark. Money's coming. Now, Quinnen, for his part, he wanted this done as soon as possible. Now, it didn't make financial sense in terms of getting the most possible dollars you can. If the Jets were smart, they would have proactively signed Quinnen to a mega deal. Now, that could have restricted them, of course, in terms of their cap with decisions with Aaron Rodgers, OBJ, Ben Jones, and things of that nature if they sign him proactively. So there's pros and cons, of course, to when you pay your guy. There is no question of whether you should. Of course, you got to pay Quinnen Williams. He's your boy. He's the straw that stirs the drink for your team. Of course, you got to pay Quinnen Williams. He's the face that runs the place. He is the head of the table. He is the tribal chief. He is numero uno. Okay? He is your guy that you have to build around. Now, when has been the key. Quinnen wanted to get paid as soon as possible. Nicole Lynn, I'm sure his agent was like, you should probably wait. A couple other guys are going to get paid, and we can top all those guys. But it's not like Quinnen just wanted to get paid as soon as possible. But now, as the Aaron Rodgers trade delay has happened, and reporters have said, hey, they're not talking to Quinnen in real depth until they figure out the other thing, it's costing the Jets some moolah, and that could play a factor down the line. Let's welcome a couple people in here. Bobby, what's up, Boy Green? What's popping, baby? Appreciate you hopping in. Suleiman, what's up, man? How we doing? Robert, so we give away Mike White and pick up Boyle. Yeah, that's another thing. Of course, you guys could feel free to ask any questions you'd like on anything New York Jets, of course, and we'll try to get into a lot of it. I will provide some continued insight on the Quinnen Williams situation. But yes, so the Jets lose Mike White, and they bring in Tim Boyle. And by the way, Tim Boyle, when you really evaluate Tim Boyle, he's not this superstar by any means. He's only started 3 games during his career, a former undrafted free agent back in 2018. He's 0-3 as a starter. And when you really kind of, again, do a deep dive on Tim Boyle, the stats won't wow you. 3 touchdowns, 8 picks. But the thing is another bread nugget in the Aaron Rodgers conversation. He's a former Aaron Rodgers backup. He was an Aaron Rodgers backup for 3 seasons from 2018 through 2020. His first year was as a third stringer. But again, as an undrafted free agent making the 53, there's a nice story there. But Robert, it's all about the brass tacks, man. It's all about the money, Robert. Mike White, in terms of, I believe the max on his deal is a 2-year deal for $16 million. But I don't think it's an $8 million average. I think it's smaller than that with bonuses and incentives and things of that nature. But long story short, Boyle's making nothing. And Zach Wilson, I still believe, is QB2. That may anger some fans, but I think Tim Boyle's there because he knows the system. He was with Hackett for 3 years, or 2 years technically, in Green Bay, with 2019 and 2020. And then 2021, Tim Boyle being on both the Lions and Bears. Lions in 2021 and 2022, and Bears in 2022 as well. So it's a more system thing. Again, the offseason programs for the Jets start in 10 days. So April 17th, you want a guy who knows the system. That'll be good for the room. But I think Zach Wilson is still QB2. And Mike White, again, couldn't stay healthy. But, you will, I'm sure, be seeing him in Miami where there's a couple quarterbacks down there who can't stay healthy. Snowball, they'll make it up in Rodgers jersey sales. That's probably true. The thing I don't like about the Jets Random D tour is that they're so slow on jerseys, man. We have all these new players, Alan Lazard, Tim Boyle, I guess, for that matter, right? You start going through some of these new additions, Quentin Jefferson, and a couple other rando guys on the roster that they've kind of brought back or brought to the team. Like, other teams are like, hey, Calvin Ridley officially added this offseason. Hey, I'm wearing number 0. Like, that's a kind of a cool thing. What new players? What gosh darn jerseys are they wearing? What are they wearing? Alan Lazard? Right now, I've got no clue. What the hell jersey is Alan Lazard wearing? Not 13. I'll tell you that. That is retired by Hall of Famer Don Maynard, and that will not change. But, is he wearing 5? Is Garrett Wilson going back to his college 5? I don't know. They need to do that. They need to do better, Jets. Do better on that front. I wish they were a bit more aggressive with sharing to the fans on jerseys, but you're probably right, Snowball. They will be making it up there. Alan, I see that you meant 5 for 120 here, but 5-year deal, $120 million, $78 million guaranteed, and that might be on his low side. Sign Jones, Woods, OBJ, and one of the remaining free safeties ASAP. So Ben Jones, sure, I could see that. If you're talking about Robert Woods, he signed with Al Woods is what you mean. Yeah, not Robert Woods, obviously. Yeah, let's go through. 5 years, 120. Yeah, 5 years, 120 could be about right. That's a high on the guarantee. Probably too high on the guarantee, but I think you may be there. Jones, 100%. Ben Jones, I think you could bring in for dirt cheap. Al Woods, I would like. Despite bringing in Quentin Jefferson, he brings you some juice from a pass rush perspective. Coming off a career high, 5.5 sacks last year with Seattle. Not as great against the run. The PFF analytics over the last 2 years, run defense-wise, is a little questionable. But with how heavy the Jets rotate their defensive line, I think adding in an Al Woods, there's also been thoughts about A'Shawn Robinson, the former Alabama big man. He most recently was with the Rams, won a Super Bowl there. Like, he's a nice big guy, 28 years of age, brings some juice, some Brutus beefcake to the defensive line. I would like A'Shawn Robinson as well. So it's about completing the room. The Jets, of course, use a very heavy defensive line rotation, right? Robert Saleh, Jeff Ulbrich are committed to it. You have really 8 to 10 starters when you break down snap percentages. So if you could just have a lot of different guys that could do different things, variety in the diet is very important on the defensive line. So Jefferson, good on the pass rush. Okay, we could bring him in on certain downs. So Al Woods, who's a true veteran, 36 years old, but again, just a road grader, man. I'd love to add him. A'Shawn Robinson, like I said, is another one. OBJ for sure. One of the remaining free safeties, I'm not sure in terms of the upside. Maybe they still like Tony Adams. Maybe they like somebody could get in the draft, perhaps in the 2023 NFL draft, potentially to complement what you have in Chuck Clark. So I'm not sure they're going to pursue that safety that you're looking for, Alan. But all the rest of it, yeah. Ben Jones, yeah. Al Woods, yes. OBJ, yes. One of the remaining free safeties. I just don't know if there's enough there. Just don't know if there's enough there on the free agency part there. Hyder joining us. What's good, brother? PBG, baby. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Dane, the Aaron Rodgers better end up with us or else. Yeah, again, we did a separate video, guys. Feel free to check it out on the mystery team, the 49ers, or gosh knows whatever mystery. There's no mystery team, okay? The Jets aren't negotiating with anyone else like Lamar Jackson. The Packers aren't negotiating with anyone else. Hell, Brian Gutekunst said that at the NFL owners' meetings. Both sides are respecting the process. They're close. It's just about, again, a staring contest here. And I think this is the simplest way to put it and why this could drag to the draft. If you think about it in this way, a pawn store, right? Let's say we've got something we want to give. This marker, okay? Play with me here. So I've got this marker. And in my head, I'm like, I'm not selling this marker any cheaper than $50. That's the least I'll take for this. But you don't go into the pawn store saying, hey, give me the least amount of what I want, right? You go to the pawn store and say, I want $100. Of course, if you could get higher than your number, that'd be great. The pawn shop goes, up yours. I want to try to make as much money as possible. Here's $20. And then you just have this negotiating. But you don't get to your bottom dollar. If I'm convinced that I'm not taking less than $50 for this marker, okay, I'm not going to my 50 number until I threaten to walk out and we're both at our wits' end. And I'm like, all right, fine, I'll take 50. Like, you see what I mean? So if we go to the Jets-Packers trade in that same ideology, Brian Gutekunst may be willing to take a second this year and a third next year or whatever it is, but he's not willing to go there on April 7th. And by the way, why should he be when it's the draft and that's where the rubber meets the road? The Packers want assets that are going to help Jordan Love be the great messiah the Packers believe he can be. So they don't want to go to that place until they have to. There's technically 20 days until the NFL draft and 21 days until the start of day 2 of the NFL draft, which is 7 o'clock on that Friday. So the Packers want to see if the Jets blink, see if the Jets fold, if the Jets are willing to move and groove on the price, on the package. So that's why I ultimately believe we continue to have this staring contest between the Green Bay Packers and the New York Jets, because the Packers are holding out because, again, really, what are we waiting for? Sure, the Jets offseason program starts in 10 days, but, if Aaron Rodgers is there or not there, it's not really a needle mover. For us, I'm sure it would be. We'd all love to see him and press conferences and talk about all the detail. Oh, man, what does this mean? Expectation for the Jets, and a lot of us have already dabbled in those waters. But I will just tell you that the staring contest will continue, I believe. If we get after the draft, then we can start getting freaky. But, until we get there, just know, Dane. All right, let's keep going here. We got Thomas jumping in on the Facebook page. Hopefully they pay Williams what he's worth. No more, no less. Only day that because we need to sign another D lineman to replace Nathan Shepard. Yeah, 100%. Let's go through a few things here. Hopefully they pay Williams what he's worth. No more, no less. I believe they will give him that number, which is exciting. Because the Jets, let's be honest, they haven't paid their own players in a long time. And the reason being, of course, is the Jets have sucked at drafting. Let's just be blunt. They have stunk at drafting, so there's been no one worth paying. But now you finally have a guy worth paying here, obviously, in Quinnen Williams, and you should be proud to hand that check, that fat check, to Quinnen and be proud that you draft. The key to building a really good football team is draft, retain, and sustain. Okay? You draft, you got Quinnen Williams. He's a good player. Now what? Now you retain him. You give him a big fat deal, and you tell everyone in the locker room and the rest of the league, hey, if you come here and you deliver, we have no problem paying you. And then sustain. You don't want the Muhammad Wilkerson situation. Hey, this guy grew up 5 minutes from the facility. Everything was great. He gets paid. He's like, don't care about football. Lackadaisical. Got my money. That's all I care about. Like, I don't think we have the same concerns with Quinnen, but that's the point of sustaining. Once you give him the check, now Quinnen's like, okay, I want to be the greatest ever. And then he's properly motivated and things of that nature. We do need to sign another defensive lineman. Again, due to the heavy rotation I just spoke of, Thomas, you need to have depth. So important in this business. So, again, it could be Al Woods, could be A'Shawn Robinson, a lot to like there. London Jets fan, hey, all. And by the way, everybody, if you're curious, what the hell is this little beep, beep, beep? What's that little icon mean? London Jets fan is a part of the Boy Green Super Fan Club, which I really appreciate. If you guys would like to support the show, you can become a member on my YouTube channel and get all kinds of cool perks and also support the show. And that's a way to do that on a month-to-month basis. So, guys, make sure to check it out on the YouTube channel. Again, the free way to contribute is by liking the video and hitting subscribe, and also the YouTube Super Chat feature where you can throw a little tip in our money jar and support the show. So feel free. London, thanks for the support, brother, and appreciate you being a part of the channel. Let's go Nick Russo here on YouTube. Teams often do much better paying the big money a year early. Normally, again, if we rewind to last offseason, I don't want to say I'm right, but again, I don't give predictions. I give spoiler alerts, people. That's just the facts of the matter. And if we go back to before the year, you guys could check the tape. The YouTube videos are there, baby. I told the Jets, hey, pay Quinnen now. And people would go, why, Paul? Why pay Quinnen now? I'm like, Quinnen's going to make more than $20 million per year. And people laughed at me. By the way, he's going to make a lot more than that now. But people laughed at me last offseason when I said Quinnen's going to be making $20 million plus per year on his brand new deal. And Jet fans laughed, saying, in what world, chubby? That's what they told me, okay? And the fact of the matter is I simply said this. If you were a betting man, Quinnen Williams in this system with this team, he's going to light it up. If you were a betting man, you were gambling on someone having a breakout year, Quinnen lined up and checked all the boxes to have that big year. And if you pay him proactively and you feel confident about your system, you feel confident about your scheme, you feel confident about the player, you pay him right now, and it's going to look like an immediate deal when he has a big year. Spoiler alert, he did. So I argued and advocated for the New York Football Jets to pay Quinnen last offseason. They chose not to, and that's fine. They don't have to listen to me. They're going to save a few pennies, but that's neither here nor there. So, yes, there is something to paying a guy a year early. Technically, last offseason was the first time the Jets were even eligible to pay Quinnen Williams. Now, Quinnen didn't have any issues of threatening to hold out last year. He said, I'm cool playing and doing what I need to do, and he has the big year. Now he's like, hey, man, I'm a team guy. I might have to hold out if I have to. So we'll see what happens. But I advocated for Nick. I tried to help the Jets. They didn't want to listen. Cy Thompson, hey there, Paul. Cy, what's up? Welcome to the show. Greg, hey, Paul. Jets, Jets, baby. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Daniel, they should have paid Quinnen Williams. I would have loved to see it. Again, I understand why this offseason in particular they haven't, but yes, they need to pay him. Let's go to Nick Russo. I saw some really nice Boyle highlights from 2018-2019 was with Hackett. Yeah, again, I'm not going to paint a picture that doesn't exist. Boyle has intriguing size. He's like 6'4", 230 pounds and change. That's really intriguing to me, but I mean, he's a system guy that knows the system, former undrafted free agent, hasn't really delivered, whether when he's given opportunities to start or even statistically from that perspective. But he's a great guy to have that knows the system. That'll be beneficial for Zach Wilson, Chris Streveler, and the rest of the offense. When you have a guy that knows it, it'll be easier with the rest of the pieces figuring things out. Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, and players of that magnitude, for sure. Monty, Tim Boyle is going to be used to teach the system because Rodgers will be delayed till September per the clause of Green Bay's contract. I'll agree with the first part. He's going to be used to teach the system. There's no guarantee he makes the roster. There's a chance because he's got a good relationship with Rodgers. It will not be delayed till September. No. It's a good floor, so to speak, if it's delayed in any long sense, Monty. on Facebook that yes, that they could have the backing. They do have the again, that was nice by Green Bay in some sense to delay the option. Remember, Las Vegas had their option on February 15th, so they didn't have the leverage to push and prod Derek Carr because he knew they weren't going to keep him, so they cut him. Like, Green Bay isn't cutting Aaron Rodgers, but again, if they wait till September and the Jets balk and they have to pay it, I don't know what's going to happen because there's no way they're paying him $60 million to be a backup in terms of cash. So, yeah, it is a floating $60 million option. Again, I think all that's figured out way before then, thankfully, but we'll get into there. Back to London Jets fan. I think it's reasonable for Zach to be QB2. 100%. Cap-wise, makes sense for him to be QB2. And again, through hell or high water, the coaching staff believes in him. Brady will be in Miami too. Very possible. Could you imagine that? Which, by the way, would make sense. If you're going to retire and potentially come back, like going to Florida where some of his kids are, like it makes sense. But imagine that division for a second. Josh Allen, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, and Mac Jones. New England firmly in last place of the AFCs, baby. And it feels good. But the rest of the AFCs would be pretty good. I've heard rumors Bill Belichick could get fired. Sign me the heck up, baby. Sign me the heck up. That's one thing I'd like to say. Nick Russo. Numbers get swapped often in training camp as players come and go. That's true. But again, people buy their jerseys well before training camp from that perspective. So, no, I don't think that's why. I appreciate you doing everything in your power to try to defend the New York Jets, but no on that perspective. Dane, I read the deadline for the trade is the second day of the draft. Yeah, it's not a true deadline, but that would be my deadline. That makes sense. The Packers, again, want picks to help Jordan Love now. And the basis of any package would be built around either the 42nd or 43rd overall pick. So if that comes and goes and the Jets use those picks, it's not NBA style where you normally draft players and then trade their rights. That normally doesn't happen. Very rare circumstances. So I would doubt that the Jets would agree with Green Bay to draft guys for them and then trade them later. I don't see that happening. But that's a soft deadline for me. Soft, hard, call it whatever you want. That's a deadline for me. And if the Packers, I almost dare the Packers to not trade Aaron Rodgers by then because all those picks are coming to the Jets to help them. So sign me the hell up, baby, for sure. Let's go to Bangus here. Boy Green, thoughts on trading down to get more picks, more value in the second and third round? Yeah, I presented a few options for heavy on Jets. I'm trying to think of a few. Baltimore was one that I wrote about. Washington was another one. Chargers was another recent one. The Baltimore one, the bad part, they don't have a second round pick, so you really have to build out picks in the third and fourth and future rounds. So I don't love that one. They traded their second rounder, the Roquan Smith deal. So I don't love that, Bangus, to be honest with you. But, a Chargers team that could give you a second in the 50s could be fascinating for sure. But, yeah, I'm all about it. And it's not – the value thing certainly helps. But I don't think the Jets have glaring needs like, oh, my gosh, if they don't draft this, their team's done. And that's a good on Joe Douglas for building out the roster that way. So I'd be for getting more wax at the pinata, though, for sure. 100%. That'd be interesting. Monty, Quentin Jefferson, finally a signing worth talking about. Yeah, I'd like Quentin Jefferson a lot of pass rush juice. Michael Nanny of Just X Factor shared out the analytics. He was top 5 in pressure rate last season with Quinnen Williams, Chris Jones, a lot of big names. So he brings some, and I'm all about sacking the quarterback. So if you could bring in guys like that, that's good. And I think it is, I don't want to say an easy sell, but if I'm Robert Saleh and you have Quinnen Williams and other guys in this room, I think it's very easy to tell other defensive linemen, yeah, the recruiting pitch, watch the tape, pal. So I like it from that standpoint. I like it from that standpoint, which is really nice. London Jets fan, they do like Adams. He could be great. Yeah, Tony Adams is the player, and he made a lot of hay as we were building up to the season. A little bit of a surprise making the roster as a UDFA, but he's got some potential. So maybe he will be the guy that burst out of all of this. We can only hope. Robert, I believe Rodgers is coming. It's who flinches first. They need to reach a settlement that they can both smile when agreed to. Yeah, and again, I think that comes by the draft. But yeah, it is who flinches first. It is a bit of a staring contest, but pressure on the Packers, again, to get those picks in. Let's go to Monty here. I hope the deal falls through and we get Lamar. All this headache and drama for a guy who is 90% going to retire this year and likely won't be here in 2024. Again, Lamar is not this perfect player. He's a guy that's been banged up the last 2 years. You'd have to give him either even if you don't do a fully guaranteed contract, you're talking about $200 million guaranteed plus. So escrow money is thrown in there for the owner. So there is headache and drama with Lamar. Lamar is super talented and a former MVP, led the league in passing touchdowns. I like Lamar. He's an exciting player for sure. But no, I don't hope the deal falls through. I think Aaron Rodgers gives the Jets the best chance to win right now. I'm not trying to think of now and in the future of multiple years. I'm just trying to think of what gives us the best chance to win a Super Bowl. Nick Russo, Rodgers was hanging out with Lazard. Yeah, let's throw that up on the big board. I'll throw it up here from the old Twitter sphere. Alan Lazard was working out with Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers, which, by the way, is interesting for a few reasons. First off, obviously, that, he's not on the team yet. Aaron Rodgers isn't. So, Nick, let's throw that up on the screen. That's a lot of fun. Let's boom, there it is. There they are. This is a graphic I made for the Heavy on Jets page. Again, Alan Lazard working out with Aaron Rodgers this week. You'll see on the first page. Although I had a funny comment on Facebook. I will share it. They said, I've seen working out and I've seen frolicking. This is frolicking as it appears maybe a game of tag of some sort as Alan Lazard is chasing Aaron Rodgers on the top picture. Bottom picture, Aaron Rodgers chasing after Alan Lazard. So it looks like maybe a cute dating profile pic, perhaps. But nonetheless, seeing them work out and hanging out is great news. And getting familiar with one another. I'm sure they're very familiar with one another based on the Green Bay ties. But yes, I love to see it. And by the way, that's the loophole in all this that should make all Jet fans just kind of be at ease. And what am I saying? That if this trade drags on into June, July, and all these other made-up dates, Aaron Rodgers, what's to stop him from making a phone call saying, hey, Garrett Wilson, hey, whoever, right? Corey Davis and Denzel Mims and whoever's on this team, Tyler Conklin, whatever. Hey, fly up to Malibu on me. Let's go throw around the football. Like, that's not tampering their players. They can do whatever the hell they want to. So there is a loophole to have Jets West once again and utilize that to, warm up and get some chemistry and things of that nature. So I don't think that's much to worry about. That is a nice little piece there. Snowball, we didn't blink on the Rodgers trade. We snapped back and got Boyle. Hell yeah, baby. The former Green Bay Packers quarterback everyone was talking about. You're damn right, Snowball. Booyah. Eat that, Packers. Yeah, that's right. All right, let's go. Mike Volpe here. Would it be awful if we slightly overpaid Quinnen? Like you said, it shows we're invested in those who come here to win. That's why, honestly, my number I said, $25 million per year. Technically, if I'm Quinnen and Nicole and his agent, the only number you really want to top is Jeffrey Simmons, who just got paid $23.5 million. So is that 23.6? Is it 24 million? Like, you could barely edge it if you want, but even if we quote unquote slightly overpaid, I'd be willing to go up to 25 million a year per year and not blink. Of course, it's not my money, but in all seriousness, 25 million per year, he's a franchise player. He's a guy you build around, a locker room guy, everything. He's right. He has done everything right on the field and off the field. He says all the right things. He paid his brother Quincy, So yes, I'm all about it. I have no problem overpaying him potentially. Now, do they end up overpaying him because they still have him a year under contract and the franchise tag behind him? So technically, and Joe Douglas isn't normally the guy to overpay people, but he has all the tools available to say, hey, let's find a good number here, because if not, well, I got the franchise tag. If not, I got the fifth-year option behind me. So, like, he's protected from that sense. But I am open to it, Mike, to your point. Mike Brenner, this will probably be done on June 1st for salary cap purposes. One of those second rounders will be a player Green Bay wants and will be traded at that time. Mike, I'll push back on this. The June 1st date that everyone talks about, I think, is malarkey. I'm going to be honest. Why? So the thing that the June 1st thing can do, okay, the thing that the June 1st thing could do is simply split the dead cap of Aaron Rodgers over multiple years, okay? And while it technically can give you some level of cap relief right now being June 2nd, what money are you spending on June 2nd? It probably behooves the Packers, quite frankly, to eat all the dead cap now, and then next year they're removed from the Aaron Rodgers situation entirely. So that, to me, is really, I think it's been falsely advertised, like June 1st, watch out for June 1st. Maybe, but no, I don't really think so. Because again, unless Green Bay has these plans of grandeur with the money that would somehow become available in the middle of the summer, most people have figured out all their stuff. Most people have figured out their financial situation. So the new money you'd get is like kind of much ado about nothing. Like every team likes to have a little bit of cap, like when you're in the year, because any emergency can happen. That kind of money being available would kind of be, a disservice because you'd rather eat it all now, in my opinion, in terms of the dead cap. So different strokes there, perhaps. London Jets fan again. The Jets brass do like Tony Adams. He could be great. What a find as a UDFA. 100%. It was very nice. Hennessy Heisman. What up, fellas? Happy Friday. Tuna sandwich. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. Yes, to use the Jake Asman line. That's damn right. Feel free to cut the line. Try to get to as many questions as possible, though. Let's see. Backup at best. Not everyone on the Tony Adams train. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. What has he done? He has not done anything. I will tell you this. Don't ever put Tony Adams on Stephon Diggs again, please. That was an absolute disaster. So that was an absolute disaster one-on-one from that standpoint. Yes, hello, baby. Yes, hello. Hello, Zariah. Yes, we're doing this. Yep, there you go. Here's my beautiful fiance, my baby. Yes. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh, this is a good question. Josh, jumping in on YouTube. Hey, Paul, who do you see as a breakout player this year for the Jets? Perhaps pick one offensive player, one defensive player. Also, who are your favorite players on the team and why? Oh, I love these questions. Okay, let's go through. Breakout offensive player. Well, here's a guy, there's a little bias here. There's no question about it. Tyler Conklin. I believe he's truly, although according to our tight end numbers, he actually broke out last year a little bit, but I don't think anyone put it in the same light. Tyler Conklin would be that guy for me because Aaron Rodgers is going to take him to another level. He's a really good pass catcher, but I don't think it was always put on display. He had a couple of drops and a fumble, I think one. So actually had a couple of fumbles earlier in the year now that I remember. So he had a bit of things here or there, but he's been on my show several times. He's a good buddy of mine. I like Tyler Conklin a lot. He'll be back on the show this summer. He's actually set to get married here. I think it's next week. So shout out to my guy, Tyler Conklin, on the marriage. But we'll be having him on soon. I think he's a breakout player I like a lot. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Breakout player. There's a couple that jump out to me. There's a couple that jump out to me in a couple of different respects. One guy I'll throw right off the top, Carl Lawson. And while he had 7 sacks last year, I think he can reach that double-digit sack barrier. I think that'd be nice. I think he could do it. He'd be another year removed from the Achilles. He's a guy to keep an eye out for sure. Chuck Clark is one that has played 1,000 straight snaps over 3 years. He's a guy that it's hard to say breakout because he's just coming here. So whatever he does is technically, it's hard to say breakout because that's our first experience of him. But Chuck Clark is another interesting one for sure. Let me try to go with somebody else. Oh, Jermaine Johnson, obviously. That could be, last year, obviously limited reps, limited snap percentages, had some injuries too. He could be a guy that just freaking eats, man. I'm really excited for him. Bryce Huff is another one. I'm copping out, I think, by giving you too many guys. But offense, Tyler Conklin, boom, stay there. And I will say defense, Carl Lawson, I think he gets double-digit sacks. I think he really explodes, 12 and a half sacks, I think, for Lawson. What are your favorite players on the team and why? Okay, let's go through them. Favorite players on the team. So I mentioned Conklin. I've had the great pleasure. By the way, we're going to have another Jets player on. I think it looks like next week. So keep an eye out. A Jets player is joining us on the show next week for the very first time. I've never had this Jets player on the show before, so I'm really excited about that. That's been behind the scenes for a little bit here. Excited for that. So, guys, make sure, again, that's why you should subscribe to the channel. You got to make sure we have spectacular guests, cool live streams like this. But we'll have a Jets player on the show next week. His people, my people are discussing the date and time, but he'll be on the show next week, and we'll try to tease it. So keep an eye out for that. But so Tyler, I like a lot as a player. He's super cool with the fans. I helped promote one of his charity endeavors last year. That's how we initially met. And then we've just been pretty close. We message and talk life and football and stuff. So he's a really nice guy. Let me see. Lakin Tomlinson, another guy that joined my show. So I guess I'm a little biased to the guys that have joined my show, but Lakin, a family man. I really love the cut of his jib. I know a lot of people, questioned the on-field play last year, and fair enough. That's his job. But Lakin's a super cool guy, super down to earth. Also, a really nice guy that I was able to talk to during the offseason. He joined us a couple months ago. Let's go. I'm just trying to jump around the roster a little bit. Boy, Garrett Wilson, of course. Some of the exciting rookie sauce is pretty. Quincy, let me throw him out there. I mean, I feel like I've been pounding the Quincy Williams, table, of course, as a guy I like a lot. I know not every Jet fan is a fan of him because they think he's this imperfect player, and he has been, for sure. But the hitting, come on, man. I mean, that revs us all up. That's exciting whether you're there at MetLife or wherever the Jets are playing on the road or I just love Quincy Williams, man. He fires me up, baby. He fires me up. So I love Quincy Williams a lot. So yeah, Quincy, Tyler Conklin, Lakin. I've been blessed to have a few other players join me on my shows, on these digital shows. Those are a couple. Great question. Wow, Josh. No one's ever asked me that last question, either before or in a long time. So thank you. Really good question, Josh. Thank you. Let's see. Anthony Joseph, yo, boy Green. Who other players are the Jets going to sign? So I mentioned Ben Jones. I think that's happening. OBJ is 100% happening. I am so convinced that OBJ is coming here. Ben Jones, OBJ. I like one of the DTs. The Jets are supposed to be meeting with Al Woods, as we speak. And then A'Shawn Robinson is one Connor Hughes floated out there, so he'd be nice. Should give me another defensive tackle, like a Hog Molly, someone who's kind of a space eater in the run game. So center, Ben Jones, or Connor McGovern. That's possible, but I prefer Ben Jones. He's got a higher ceiling coming off a Pro Bowl year. OBJ I like a lot, obviously. I think he's a stud. I still think he's got plenty left in the tank. Would love to bring him back to New York. Ben Jones, OBJ. Like a big, again, either Al Woods or A'Shawn Robinson. I still want a running back. Again, it's cool to hear that Brian Costello piece that Breece Hall's supposed to be back for week 1, but you got to hope for the best and prepare for the worst. So while it would be cool if Breece Hall was ready for week 1, your job as a team is to be prepared for any scenario. And there's a scenario that exists where Breece Hall is not ready for week 1. That's the truth. It doesn't feel great, I'm sure, to say that, but 100%. That is one for sure that I'd love a little bit of insurance on. So give me another running back. I'm not saying go crazy, not Bijan Robinson, although that would be fun, Bijan Robinson. But, something like a veteran minimum, a system guy, a guy could bring a little, little meat and potatoes potentially to the backfield. That's something I would like as well. So running back, center, wide receiver, defensive tackle. I don't think they go after a safety outside of the draft, which I think will, I think that's really going to rub people, the wrong way. But I just think that's how I see it. Tennessee Heisman. Craig Carton was really on the radio again today trying to double down on the 49ers trading for Rodgers. What a clown. I'll tell you this, guys, and I think this is a little bit of a line of delineation. First off, my Twitter's been hacked. So I'm not in the Jets Twitter world, seeing all the news how I would normally see it. I have not had access to that Twitter account in 3 weeks. So, I'm a little deplugged. But I will tell you this. Another thing I'm deplugged on is I live in Oswego, New York, upstate New York. So I'm not in the city with a lot of you guys. So listening to the Craig Cartons of the world, Boomer Esiason, I don't listen to that at all. And obviously not on a day-to-day basis. Those are not people that I'm connected to. Although I guess technically in the internet world, you can listen to anyone at any time. But I don't gravitate to Craig Carton. I only listen to that 49ers bit and random bits of Boomer. So I've not heard a lot of that stuff, to be honest. I listen to Rich Eisen show, big fan of the Rich Eisen show. The Jets YouTube channel, which has a lot of original stuff. I'm a big fan of First Draft, Todd McShay, Mel Kiper, Field DH. We had Field DH on a couple, weeks ago. He's really nice as well. It was cool to have him on the show. But, some of those guys. So I don't listen to Carton often. So I've heard, I don't know if Carton's reputation, a lot of people have been trying to tell me, like you, Hennessy, and others, that he's just kind of a weirdo. But, again, I think it's crazy. We talked about it with Buffalo. I think I did that on the Wednesday show. It's just kind of wild, to be honest. First off, the 49ers just don't make any sense. The cap space doesn't make sense. Their quarterback situation doesn't make sense. Excuse me. You have Trey Lance, you have Brock Purdy, and Sam Darnold. Where does Aaron Rodgers fit there, quarterback-wise? He doesn't. Also, putting all of those factors aside, they don't have a first-round pick. That was traded as part of the Trey Lance deal. They don't have a second-round pick. That was traded to Christian McCaffrey. So if I'm the Packers and I'm going to trade him to the NFC, which, by the way, I wouldn't. But if I was going to, I'm charging you a tax. If you 49ers are potentially going to throw Aaron Rodgers in my face, you got to pay a premium price. Yesterday's price is not today's price. Like, the price is exorbitant. If the Jets say, hey, we'll give you, like, for the Jets, it's a first-round pick. For the 49ers, it's 2 first-round picks. I don't care if that sounds crazy. I'm not paying. The 49ers are paying a higher price to get Aaron Rodgers. That's just facts. 100%. And they got a couple of third-round picks, comp picks at the end of the third round. Kick rocks, pal. There's no friggin' way if I'm the Packers. I'm trading him to San Francisco, so I see him in my conference. And there's no way I'm doing it for a bag of friggin' beans, man. Third-round picks? Third-round picks? The Jets have 42 or 43. Super valuable. Couple of late thirds. Grow up. Hell no. Dumb. Just dumb. So, Carton, sorry, man. That's just dumb. And there's no mystery team. It's not happening. Let's see. It's so dumb. Unbelievably dumb. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Hennessy. Number 99 for Rodgers. What? Like, come on. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Anthony Joseph. Who's going to draft Jalen Carter from Georgia? Let's talk about it a little bit. Obviously, Jalen Carter has some off-the-field issues, both from maturity standpoint. I heard Todd McShay today said he's had problems with coaches in practice and being coachable, and obviously came in overweight at his pro day. And then you had, of course, the tragic situation where multiple Georgia players lost their lives. Incredibly sad story. And his potential alleged involvement in that is something your NFL teams have to check in on. So all of that is super, like, woo, hello, double check, discount, double check. But obviously the talent's insane. He could be the best player in the draft. So when you start going through teams like, okay, like Seattle, they picked a bunch of high character guys last year. Would they be willing to dive in those waters? It's a great need, but are they willing to, the culture? The Bears, of course, could have taken him at number 1 overall. So number 9 overall, they'd be interested. The Eagles have 2 first-round picks. So you'd think there's a little bit more flexibility there to take a guy like that because you have extra capital. Potential. And then you'd reunite him with his former Georgia teammate, Jordan Davis. And I will tell you, for the New York Jets, again, I don't have all the info, obviously. And I want to make that clear. I don't have all the info. So the Jets have to be cool with all the info, which I don't have available or accessible to me, random boy green here. I don't have that available. If the Jets have it available and they evaluate the package and say, hey, we're cool, we're good with this guy, I'm all for taking Jalen Carter at 13. Can you imagine Jalen Carter and Quinnen Williams? Hoo-wee, baby. Hoo-wee. Toot, toot. Jalen Carter and Quinnen Williams, God help whatever offensive line is tasked with blocking those guys. I don't think there's an offensive line on the planet that can block those 2 men. And then plus, oh yeah, you don't just have 2 defensive linemen down in the dirt. With the Jets, you got 4 minimum, plus any potential blitzing. So, oh yeah, I'm intrigued. That's for sure. Snowball. Red John had an interesting trade offer. Our first for Green Bay's 2nd and 3rd. That's not interesting. That's not good enough. That's not enough. And I'm assuming that's part of the Aaron Rodgers trade. So 13 for like whatever that is, 48, 45, something like that. 45, I believe it is. So 45, their 3rd, which I don't know off the top of my head, but 45, their 3rd for 13. No. I'd need more than that. Plus the protection pick. If we got, let's see, if we sent 13 and they gave us Aaron Rodgers, their 2nd, their 3rd, and the protection pick, and whether 2024, 2025, which is like a 2nd or 3rd, then we're dancing. But 13 is so valuable because if you think about it this way, Snowball, 4 quarterbacks are probably going before the Jets pick. So the Jets pick at 13, so there's 12 players to be had here that are unavailable to the Jets. Let's say 4 quarterbacks. All of a sudden, 8 players, non-quarterback, are potentially available for the Jets. Let's throw the 2 corners in there. Devon Witherspoon and Gonzalez. Boop. All of a sudden, we went from 12 to 8 to 6. Now, there's 6 players that are non-quarterback that could go to the Jets. Let's take Will Anderson out of it. Now you're down to 5. Now, let's think of the other positions. There's 3 offensive tackles that could go. That leaves 2 other players. And we haven't talked about other positions where potentially that could become available. Pass rusher, Tyree Wilson, Lucas Van Ness. All of a sudden, whoa. If you start playing that game, Jalen Carter's of the world and other talents are going to be available for the Jets. So the Jets have the 13th overall pick, which is valuable. But when you start playing games like, oh, well, they're not drafting a quarterback and they're not doing this or that, all of a sudden the 13th overall pick looks like a top 10 pick. All of a sudden the top 10 pick looks like a top 8 pick in terms of getting a piece that can help you among the best players in this class that aren't quarterback. So that's why I hesitate with that, Red Ball. That's for sure. That is for sure. Rico the Pup. I'd rather not give up the farm for Lamar. I like the player, but us, much as we like our team, we're still not a finished product. We need those draft picks. That's not the reason why I'm not willing to go for Lamar. Personally, that's not why I'm not willing to go for Lamar, because I am if somehow Rodgers joined the XFL and he wasn't an option anymore. I'd be interested in Lamar. He's young and everything else, but there's just a lot you have to figure out there with the 2 firsts, the money, and everything else, and making sure obviously he's fully invested. The Buffalo Jet fan, again, another member of the Boy Green Super Fan Club. Boop, 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 boop. That is available on the YouTube channel. Feel free. Buffalo. We had a great show on Wednesday. I hope you guys check it out if you haven't already. Let's see. Okay, let's throw this one up. Whoa, this is a book. Okay, all you're going to see are my eyebrows going here, Monty. All right. Why not look to shore up our future quarterback-wise? The teams most likely to win a Super Bowl statistically in any given year are teams that are consistently making the playoffs and have been to multiple Super Bowls. Your best bet is not a one-and-done at 2021 Rams. Your best bet is building a 2010 Seahawks or mid-late 2000 Steelers, or KC have been building since 2013. Fascinating commentary, and there is something to be said about that, Monty. But again, for the New York Jets, I'm willing to go all in right now, and then let's figure it out later. Let's kick the ball down the road. I think we could say this. Aaron Rodgers right now is a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson is. Now, is that going to be the case in 5 years? I don't know. But right now, Aaron Rodgers gives the Jets a better chance to win than Lamar. Aaron Rodgers is more durable, 4-time NFL MVP, Super Bowl champ. I mean, one of the most gifted quarterbacks of all time, one of the best quarterback prospects of all time. 100%. I need a neck. I've heard you say that, Lamone. Yes. Yeah, my beard eats my neck. Or I hunch over, maybe. I don't know. But I appreciate it. Oh, Packers fan, yeah. London Jets fan, let's see. Hey, Boy Green, what is success with Aaron Rodgers' AFC champ game or Super Bowl win? Do we expect an AFC championship game with Aaron Rodgers? Success is winning the Super Bowl. Now, some people, this is what, I don't like to do this. What's success? Is success ending the playoff drought? Is success making a run? Let's look at it this way. 2009, 2010, the 2 AFC championship game years. 10 years plus removed, I could look back and say that, man, those were awesome. So cool to be relevant all year, be in the mix. That was cool, man. But going in, I'm not like, man, that'd be cool to lose in the AFC championship game. My goal is Super Bowl. Winning the Super Bowl. What's a success? Winning the championship. Immortality. Football immortality. That's the success Papa's looking for. That's the success Daddy's looking for. Super Bowl. Football immortality. You want to know what I'm looking for? That's what I'm looking for, baby. Right there. Boom. The Jets Super Bowl III championship ring. Yeah, look at that nice camera work. Boom. What are we looking for? Right there, baby. A New York Jets World Championship. This replica of the Super Bowl ring. This is what I'm looking for, baby. Boom. Let's slap that on the finger. Nice. Yeah, baby. Boom. This is what Dad's looking for. Pow. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, that's nice. Let's get a nice image on that. Look at that. Boom. Look at that bling. Oh, yeah, baby. One of these puppies is what I'm looking for. Yes. That's what I'm looking for. Football immortality. Again, after the fact, maybe I can appreciate it more, but I'm going in looking for chips. We're going to the ship. Going to the ship. What? That's what I'm looking for, baby. Let's go to Mike Volpe. Any update on Becton? I've seen a picture. He looks slimmer. Yeah, we did a video on this. Feel free to check it out on the channel. Becton apparently down to about 350 pounds, which is 14 pounds lighter than he was at his NFL Combine weight 3 years ago. Great shape, looking fantastic. So only great things to report from that perspective. That is for damn sure. DMAR, I see this. Quinnen should get less than Titans DT. He's not as good. I disagree, but hey, oranges to apples, perhaps. I think it's straight up because they're both defensive tackles, but I don't know. I think Quinnen's better, but hey. But also this. Okay, you say Jeffrey's better. I say Quinnen's better. Regardless of what we think, Quinnen is going to be arguing. Do we think if we pull up the highest paid, Christian Kirk, $72 million? Do you think he's the $72 million best receiver in the NFL? No, but it's not always about where you believe you stand. It's about what you believe you can get, not what you are, what you could get. For instance, Aaron Rodgers, he should be worth $1 million first-round picks. But guess what? The Jets aren't paying him that because of the situation. They don't have to pay what he's worth. They just have to pay the Packers what it's going to take. Again, that's the key, baby. Let's go to a super chat. Appreciate you. Small Health Jets Petro. Again, we'll be on here for a few more minutes. From Hall of Fame game to Super Bowl. Keep up the good work, man. Appreciate it. I can't wait. Yeah, my plan is to go to the Hall of Fame game, by the way, in August. And what a proper kickoff to the season there in August. See Joe Klecko, Darrelle Revis be immortalized in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I've always wanted to go to the Hall of Fame, so this is a bucket list item. I can't wait. Everything's set up. Nothing official yet, but it is looking like we'll be there in August, which I'm really excited about. Big bucket list item for me. Thank you for the super chat, brother. My guy Conk's so underrated. He is so underrated, man. He is silky smooth as a route runner. I shared a couple of clips during training camp, and or even spring practice. Like he's got some juice, man. And the man bun, obviously. There you go, long hair. I wish I could rock it the same. I cannot. Packers fans don't know anything. Wow, yikes! You guys are all. Oh man, we get a lot of Packers fans here, which by the way I appreciate. You guys can come in here. That's fine. No problem. John Hepburn. Hey, Paul. How are you, my man? Let's see. Monty, let's bring you in. Here's another good question. What re-signing do you think is the least likely to happen for us? Or who is on the roster today who is least likely to be there in September, other than Corey Davis? So what re-signing do you think is the least likely to happen? So let me pull up the Jets free agents of guys who are still out there, I'm assuming, is how you are saying it. So let's see. Let me check the old list here. Jets free agents who remain out there. Let's see. So George Fant, that's not happening. I'd be very surprised. Joe Flacco is not happening. He's gone. LaMarcus Joyner, that ain't happening. Quan could happen. I think he's a guy that could make it on the team, maybe after the draft. I don't think he's gotten the market. It was up before. Vinny Curry's gone. Cedric Ogbuehi, he is gone. Remmers is gone. Yes, there's a handful. George Fant, not happening. Joe Flacco, not happening. Joyner, maybe, but probably not. Quan, yes. Vinny Curry, nope. Cedric Ogbuehi, nope. Mike Remmers, nope. All those dudes are gone. Peace. Deuces. Gonzo, not going to happen. Your second half of your question. Who is on the roster today who's least likely to be there in September? I'm kind of going off the top of my head here. Let's see. Ty Johnson, he could be a guy that I know he's not a big name. He's a guy that could. Denzel Mims, there's one. I don't think he's on the roster. Do not think so. I think they're going to bring in like an OBJ and probably swap him out with Corey Davis. So I'm not using Corey Davis as the name. But Denzel Mims, I don't think so. I could see a world where Jeremy Ruckert is not on the team. I could see that. I'm trying to think of who else. Any big name? Not really. Like those guys are here. But those are a couple to consider. My boy Monty. Appreciate you. Kareem Hunt would have been nice. Yeah, the Jets actually did call the Browns about Kareem Hunt. They wanted a fourth. Jets said nah. And they ultimately traded the sixth for James Robinson. So, yeah, that would have been nice. Should have signed him instead of Ty Johnson. Would have been nice. It would have been more expensive, which I guess is the reason. Let's go to Big Green here. You're near me. I'm Saratoga, boy Green. Oh, okay. My sister was born in Saratoga Springs. There you go. Small world. Yes. I hopefully get to, again, my fiance still like believes that I paid a guy. We went to week 1 Jets Ravens at MetLife Stadium. We were in a Jet shop on whatever level we were on, 100, 200, 300, whatever. We're in a Jet shop. There's a guy and his girlfriend, and they're in line in the Jet shop. And we're just getting stuff for the baby and also for me. And this guy, I keep seeing him kind of like peeking behind at me and like kind of whispering to his girl. And I have no idea what's going on. And then eventually he either musters up the courage or the girl goes, go on, go on. And I'm like, what's going on? And then he turns around and says, are you Boy Green? I'm like, yeah. Hey, how are you, pal? Nice to meet you. I'm Boy Green, baby. And then so it happens, and then he's like, oh, so cool. Go Jets. And then his girl's like, see, told you it was super cool. They leave the store. My fiance turns to me and goes, like, how much do you pay those people? I'm like, hey, I told you, Boy Green's a big deal, baby. Boy Green is a big deal. She didn't believe me. So hopefully I can see you guys. I know I'm going to a road game. I believe it's Jets Cowboys. That's not locked in, but that's one me and my dad are looking at. He's a Cowboys fan. And then we'll try to go to another home game at least. And hopefully maybe I get some package deal where I'm doing stuff with a sponsor or something and we're going to other games. I'd love to meet a bunch of you guys. Hopefully we can have like a Boy Green tailgate or something. We can all meet up. That'd be cool. Detroit not passing on Jalen Carter. I could see that at 6. Again, remember back in the day, they got their boy, Ndamukong Suh, who had his own fair share of issues, more so, whatever. But yeah, he could be interesting. Yeah, and they got 2 first-round picks, so same luxury thing I was talking about for someone else. That could be it. Let me go real quick. I'm going to answer some of your final questions here. Hit that like from New Zealand, Australia. Thank you, Playboy, for joining us. Appreciate that. New Zealand, Aussie, down under. Love it. Click the like. Thanks, everybody, for that. Very nice. Winning the AFC East would be nice. It'd be the first time in 20 years that happened. 2002 is the last time. Also, home playoff game. Let's go with some rapid fire here. Does JD still draft the quarterback day 2 after signing Boyle? Yeah, I think the Boyle thing is scheme system stuff for the offseason. There is a chance they draft the quarterback on day 2 or 3, likely more so day 3, depending on guys. So we'll keep an eye out for that. It's possible. It's in the cards. Can you picture a top 5 defense and a Aaron? I absolutely can, and I'm hoping to see it. Cap situation. They're hovering just under 10 million. So we'll see more moves to come. And again, I think they're waiting to hit the big red button in the owner's office on Corey Davis and a couple others until Aaron Rodgers happens. So that's another one as well to check out. And let's wrap up with a few more comments. Monty, appreciate you, Boy Green. I read most of your articles too. Thanks for what you do, man. Appreciate it, Monty. That means the world, man. Yeah, you guys can read this one. My thought process on the Quinnen Williams thing, Jeffrey Simmons, Deron Payne, all these guys getting paid. We'll try to do another video either late tonight or tomorrow. You guys can check it out as well. That may be a pre-recorded, may not be a live, but we'll see kind of what happens timing-wise and a couple more thoughts on a few more items, including a unique thing on the Aaron Rodgers trade front. That could be fascinating as well. And a couple, let's just say goodbye. Oh, yeah, Tatiana Davis, big deal. Again, Anchorman, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? I'm sort of a big deal. That's kind of what happened. It's true. That is kind of what happened. My fiance even commenting from a different room to get in on the channel. I can appreciate that. Dino, yes, sir. I'm in Cambridge, home of the Indians. Oh, cool. All right, welcome. Very nice. All the homies love Boy Green. You damn right they do. You damn right they do. And thank you, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, whether you're watching live or after the fact, like the video, hit subscribe. It makes a huge difference. So YouTube gods, when they see a bunch of likes, they're like, hey, let's share this Jets content with other people. We're trying to make a chase for 5,000 subscribers. We're at 4.3K plus. So guys, feel free to show your support. Tell a Jets friend, share the love. Make sure to do so. And we always appreciate you guys checking in. We'll be back soon. Appreciate it. Peace out, baby.